Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio has really wanted to take attention away from his position on immigration, which is a position that to a lot of Republicans and conservatives is not particularly palatable. They don't really like it. And in part, it could be maybe because of Marco Rubio's personal background in Cuba. In any case, Rubio wants to take attention away from that and try to bolster his conservative credentials. So what does he do? Well, as the New York Times is reporting, Marco Rubio has gotten in the way of a nomination of a black gay judge. The nomination of a gay black Miami judge to the federal bench will not move forward after Senator Marco Rubio announced he was withdrawing his support over concerns about the judge's actions in 2 criminal cases. I could go through the minutia of those 2 cases. Needless to say, they relate mostly to a sentence and they relate to admissibility of evidence. Now, I want to focus very specifically on one of these cases. My point of view, and the point of view of many, is that Marco Rubio is doing this to bolster his position with conservatives who don't want a black gay judge appointed. That's the bottom line. That's my position on this. Let's look at the cases that Marco Rubio is saying changed his mind about this. One is about sentencing. We don't really need to get into it. The judge issued a sentence along sentencing guidelines. It wasn't by any means crazy. This is the other story. Judge Thomas here decided to keep out a confession in a murder case. And the case involved 5 defendants where a young woman was raped and shot to death, and her boyfriend was left for dead. Now, Judge Thomas ruled that 2 of the defendants in the case, including a 15-year-old, either had not been properly read their Miranda rights or had not understood them. The rulings were appealed, and Judge Thomas was partially affirmed by the appellate court. Ultimately, this is the key, ultimately, all 5 of those defendants were ultimately convicted or they pleaded guilty. Lewis, constitutional conservatives should be applauding that decision. The reading and understanding of Miranda rights should be something that a constitutional conservative, like so many of those who are concerned about supporting Marco Rubio, concerned about his position on immigration, they should be applauding the judge's decision. Shouldn't we want judges acting in accordance with the law and deciding that if defendants were not properly Mirandized before giving a confession, that the confession should not stand? That, to me, more than anything else, shows that this is just a transparent attempt from Marco Rubio to come up with something to justify the killing of this nomination, other than the fact that conservatives would like him blocking the nomination of a gay black guy.
Yeah, of course, that's it. He'll look for anything to try and delegitimize this nomination. It's unfortunate, but you know what? A lot of his supporters are probably right behind him here.
I encourage our audience, look at the details of the 2 cases that Marco Rubio is claiming as his reason for killing this nomination, in spite of the fact that Judge Thomas is absolutely qualified. And tell me if you disagree with me, that these are not just bogus straw men used to take down the nomination. Let's take a break. Next, we will talk to attorney Tom Kokanowski about the Florida Stand Your Ground case of Marissa Alexander, where she has been granted a new trial. And later, we will have your voicemails and much more. DavidPakman.com/membership.